It's showing the countdown timer on Instagram. You gotta be kidding me. Well, it's what it is. All right, I think we're live.
All right.
What's going on, everybody? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. We're off to a bang.
Happy New Year.
Off to a banging start.
It's been about, what, 3-4 weeks since we've had a show?
Oh, gosh.
Nice and refreshed.
Nice and refreshed, because we need to be, based on all of this stuff, all this newsworthy, crazy, global stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
You know, I thought Maduro was going to take the cake this evening, but unfortunately, we've had some very unfortunate, tragic incidents happen in Minnesota today, and I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit later. Yeah. But
Minnesota has not failed to surprise or, to show up. That's for sure.
No, it hasn't. I've been thinking long and hard about what I wanted to say about that, and it's unfortunate that it has come to this, but it's not surprising, especially given the heated nature of what's going on. You've got the left absolutely opposed to law and order, and you've got law and order out there trying to do what they're supposed to do. And now there's been loss of life, which is absolutely horrible. I saw the picture. She was a mom. I don't know if she's married, but anyway, kids have lost a mom. A husband's maybe lost a wife, and family members have lost a family member. So, thoughts and prayers go out to that person's family because of that. I don't know the whole story. I don't even want to get into the particulars, other than I'm not surprised that it happened. And this isn't going to be the end, unfortunately. And I hate to see that there's some rhetoric. Tim Walz is getting ready to mobilize the National Guard. Well, why didn't you do that during the George Floyd riots? I mean, so
against ICE agents,
yes,
to protect people attacking federal agents. That's why he's going to mobilize the Minnesota National Guard.
Well, and not only that, but to take the heat off of him for what's been going on. I mean, he had to step down from the governor's race because he knows he's guilty of sin. And who knows who else is involved in his administration, raping and pillaging our tax dollars. A.G. Ellison, he was on tape going, "Oh, if you're having some problems, just give me a ring. Lots of times a call from me will make things go away." Well, come on. That is an inference of, I'll take care of what needs to be taken care of. Don't you worry about it. Gosh, horrible across the board. What's everybody else's take?
I mean, I think when it comes down to it, all of this could have been avoided. I said it earlier. I have pretty strong feelings about it. And I think the biggest thing that pisses me off, aside from the loss of life, is the fact that it happened in the first place. If people would understand that even if you're trying to protest, that you still have to abide by the laws, just like the cops can't put their hands on you when you're peacefully assembled and protesting. You can't put your hands or ram a vehicle into an officer or try to, or take a big piece of machinery and take off at a rapid speed aimed at another law enforcement officer. And at the end of the day, it's just everything went wrong. Everything went wrong. The cops did right. She did wrong. And now there's a young little kid who has to live without his mom. And that's the worst part of it. And that's that leftist mentality: lead with your emotions and not with your frontal lobe.
Yeah.
And so to me, I think it's it's maddening, honestly. The fact that we're even having to talk about this, the fact that it even had to happen, all of it was avoidable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've kind of wrestled with it back and forth since it happened. When it first came out, we only saw that one angle of the video, and I was like, oh man, that's not good. Just from what you could see from it, it didn't look good. And then that second angle came out where you can clearly see she does make contact with him. And it, like you said, Brian, it was just a culmination of 1,000 different wrong things that happened at one time that led to it. And I try to look at it from both sides, both perspectives, if you will, to see kind of, if it was the other way around, if it was, somebody on the right that was in front of that vehicle, would I feel the same way, to try to judge how I'm interpreting what I'm seeing, to try to have more of a level head around it. And both sides, I mean, I understand both sides of the argument. Yes, she shouldn't have been there in the first place. She shouldn't have been antagonizing the ICE officers. But at the same time, you see him, the officer, it's like, could he have stepped to the side? Maybe. Could he have also done the right thing at the right time and didn't have enough, it was a fraction of a second for him to make that decision. So you have to take that into account. There's just so many variables, and it's like nobody was going to win in that situation, no matter what. So, but what I keep coming back to is that 10,000 foot view of none of this would have happened if the left had not vilified and been calling ICE Nazis, and they're coming in and just swooping up people and kidnapping people off the street. If that rhetoric hadn't been pushed down our throats for the last 6 months, we wouldn't even be in this situation. So I hate to like put fault before all of this kind of settles out. But, right now it's like, if the left hadn't been doing that, we wouldn't even be here. So what are we talking about? Right.
Well, that's it. It's like, we can't look at this in a vacuum, right? You can't look at just this incident and not what led up to it. And what led up to it was that Mayor Fry and, Tim Walz, and by the way, I don't know if you saw Tim Walz give those comments today. He looks like absolute hell.
He does.
Yes,
wow,
he does.
He looks horrible. He's been under it, and he should be. Everything's falling apart in his state, but they have allowed this culture of aggression against law enforcement. Of course, we know what happened in 2020. That was a nightmare. They burned the police station down. Everybody abandoned it. They lost their police force. And now, of course, this is happening again. You cannot allow people to aggress against law enforcement or federal agents who are doing their job and not have any police presence there. By the way, there's not one single Minneapolis PD person there, and you're in a suburban neighborhood and all that ruckus is going on. Nobody calls the police. No,
Right.
They're just leaving these ICE agents completely vulnerable and on their own. And what I read, and this is just what's being reported, I don't know if it's confirmed or not, but it's out there in the metaverse. But this woman was married to another woman, and they had a 6-year-old child.
Yeah. Oh,
Now,
I heard the same. Yeah.
That 6-year-old child is now without her mom. But there was a report that made it sound like the other mom, this woman, Good, I think her name was Karen Good or something like that, Rachel Good. Her wife was there
Right.
during the incident. So you
Filming.
have to wonder what are these two women doing on a Wednesday morning? Where's your child, number one?
Yep.
And what are you both doing, harassing ICE agents to the point where you're going to get in a car, disregard the instructions they're giving you and drive toward one of them. Also, the agent that shot her in the face 3 times, had been dragged by a protester previously. So again, you have this perfect storm, this tinderbox environment of an agent who had probably trauma already from dealing with these protesters, and a protester who should not have been there, who is disregarding instructions, who is invading space, which is why we have the HALO Act being put forward, by the way, to give these people at least some kind of protective barrier to do their job.
Right.
And no PD, other law enforcement presence or protection. Of course, this is going to happen, and it's horrifying to watch that footage. But what does everyone think is going to happen? So now here we have a woman dead, a child who's lost her mother. It's absolutely devastating. And what's happening? ICE is getting vilified again. That's what's happening. That's the response.
They protest. It's not real until somebody has to get hurt for it. Now, and that's what's happening. And these folks, they're so used to being able to be disruptive, emotional, and get away with stuff. No checks and balances, that when they run into law and order, it doesn't matter. The cop doesn't even have the law enforcement officer doesn't even have time to think when a vehicle's coming at them. And you already said that he had previous trauma. So he's not going to be able to sit there and think about this for a second. Well, I wonder if she's trying to hit me or she's just trying to swerve around me.
Right.
If the vehicle's headed in my direction, and I think I'm going to die, I'm going to try to stop it somehow, some way. And,
Exactly.
and it's unfortunate, but and the left, dude, we can go on for days about the left. We can go on for the rest of our lives about the left. The left, you know, I say this and I mean it. I guarantee you there were people that were waiting for the victim's identity to come out to make sure, to see if it was a black person. Guarantee.
Oh yeah.
Guarantee.
Oh, yeah.
They wanted a George Floyd. Bottom line.
Yeah.
And the fact that it isn't, the fact that it's a person, it's terrible. The fact that it isn't probably was a bummer to a lot of Democrats because that's the way they think. They only think about their agenda and their power, and they don't care who gets hurt in the process. Yeah. On the other hand, the people on the right, we have some wackadoodles on our side. There's no arguments about that, right? They're nuts, but we respect law and order, and that's what we want. We want to be able to have that law and order to protect our freedom so that we can go about our lives peacefully without having to worry. A woman having to worry if is she going to get raped on the way to the club? Is she going to get sexualized in a Planet Fitness that just happened the other day? There's all kinds of. It's just madness. It's madness, and our society, especially on the left, is in a state of moral decay.
Yeah.
Well, and it's all part of a larger game plan that's been put in place. We've talked about Cloward and Piven. If you don't know what that is, for those of you in the audience, just go look it up. It'll explain a lot of what's been going on in society today. And then if you go back and read some of the psychology papers and books that were written just for the purpose of how do you turn a society inside out, you take what's normal and you demonize it. You say a man can be a woman or vice versa. You can wish to be whatever it is you want to be. And then you take the mechanisms of control, such as the media, for example, and you pound that message home and you make it seem like that is the norm when it is absolutely isn't. And then you take people who are on, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense to me. They say trust the science, and the science says that a man is this and a woman is that. Now, outside of that, we can have, outside of that, we can have a different discussion. But then they go, well, no, that's not science. We're rewriting science. No, you don't rewrite science. Facts are facts.
Right.
But then they try to tell everybody, no, you're wrong. And then they try to shame you into conformity, just like they did during COVID. By the way, I'm already getting restricted on TikTok. Thank you very much, which means we're over the target. But, we were, they tried to shame us into conformity and compliance. And I'm like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Sorry. And I didn't. And I won't. And I think most Americans who did not want to do the thing that I don't want to list right here so we don't get taken down, won't do it again. They will not line up. They will not head to Walgreens or CVS to go, please, please, please give it to me. Give it to me. They're going to go F off.
Yeah.
And that's just how it's going to go down.
And I think what just happened today is another kind of marker for how evil the left is, because that they've just been building this tinderbox and waiting for a spark. It's been ever since Trump took office. They're like, all right, we need something to spark so we can have an excuse to unleash hell on the cities. And mark my words, I mean, give it a week. There's going to be places burned down in Minneapolis, just like the George Floyd 2.0.
Maybe not.
I don't know. I don't see.
Back to Brian's point.
This pressure cooker has been building for a long time, and it's going to have to bleed off for a while. I feel like until we get back to normalcy. They're just waiting for an excuse, and that was their excuse today.
They are already at the federal courthouse, banging on the windows and things like that. So I can see your point in that, Brett. But I also, it could go either way. But the fact of the matter is Governor Walz or whatever he is not making it any better by getting out there talking about mobilizing the National Guard against the federal government, which he has the right to do.
Well, how's that going to work out anyway? How's that going to play out?
It's not, because the president is in full control. All he's got to do is federalize the guard, and guess what? You don't get him anymore.
Yeah, exactly. But his rhetoric was nothing but inciting. He's just inciting that those people wanting that war. They want that civil war. They want us to rise up and all that kind of stuff. I was scrolling through my comments today. Right. I was scrolling through my comments today, and there were so many people from the left saying we need to get guns. It's time to exercise our Second Amendment right. I'm like, whoa, what world are we in right now?
Right.
So it's like he's inciting violence. You can't tell me he didn't choose those words exactly that way for any other reason other than that. He's just it's tampon Tim. I'm sorry.
No, it's pissing me off, bro. Just listening to this conversation.
I agree with you 100%. And trust me, his speechwriters were out there carefully crafting language meant to do exactly what it is that you're talking about. He's going to demonize what is correct and right and justify what is wrong. Meaning you need to go out there and take the city back. You need to go out there and do the following things. And it never is kumbaya, my lord.
Yeah.
Holding hands.
It hasn't been that like that for years.
Hands across America, right? And putting flowers in the end of the barrel of the gun like they did in the 60s. It's go out there and pillage and burn.
Well, it's really interesting that we're at this point in our country right now where we have citizens fighting other citizens. I mean, ICE agents, federal law enforcement are citizens. They deserve the same safety and protection that regular citizens do too. I mean, we're talking about the same thing here, but we have US citizens fighting other US citizens over the issue of locating and potentially removing non-citizens in this country. And that is what we are up against right now, is which side is our political leadership going to take? The left has taken the side of people who do not have citizenship here. And again, you cannot one size fits all that demographic. We know that there is not a one single bucket you can put them in. You cannot just blanket fix that problem. Right. But at the end of the day, where do you stand? And I think this will be maybe a bigger issue even than the economy when we get to midterms, and certainly when we get to 28. And it's really fascinating to watch it shape up. But is it okay to be on the side of a citizen, or is it not? And people are having to make that. Can you believe it? Right?
Yeah,
we have to make that decision. Is it okay to be here illegally? And what does that look like? And how do you justify that versus, is it okay to be a patriot and be proud of this country and be relieved and grateful that you live here and have citizenship here and express that? So we'll see how it comes down.
It's go ahead,
Brian, go ahead. I've got my thought ready.
No, it's not okay to be disrespectful and disobey laws. You were taught that at a young age. Like, and I know that you're saying, I'm talking about apples and oranges here when it comes to what you're saying, but like, the debate that, I mean, if they're going to use this as a crux for that debate, look what happened. No, somebody was being stupid, and stupid is as stupid does, and stupid gets what it gets. It's got coming to it. Literally. It literally does. I mean, there's no justification whatsoever. I don't care how you paint it. Nobody should have died. Yes. 100% tragic. But at the end of the day, as we like to say, there's no justification or rationalization to disobey commands from law enforcement. And that's the problem in this country. We think that we can do whatever we want. And yet we're the ones that wanted these officers in the first place. We're the ones that want a safe community in the first place. And then when it's not politically convenient, then it's a problem.
That's the key, political convenience.
And it's too bad we didn't have all the clips loaded from people from the Obama administration all the way through Trump's last administration, like Chuck Schumer getting up there talking about immigration enforcement and how we need to take out Maduro. So whatever's politically expedient for them at the time, whatever they know is going to drive the narrative that's going to drive the emotion to move the machine in the direction it needs to go. And they've lost their political capital as far as I'm concerned, because they had their one run at this and it failed. And that was back in 2020. And since there isn't the right, I'm not even going to say this. I just think they've lost their political capital, and they're not going to be able to duplicate the same results as they tried to last time in Minneapolis and across the country. The BLM has lost credibility, and it's completely destroyed and out of. So that organization, that mechanism is now gone. You've got that Sundar Ching or Pai or whatever that guy's name that's over in China, the Indian businessman. I know I butchered his name, but you know who I'm talking about.
I know who you're talking about. Yep.
So he's still funding them with millions. We know the Soros organizations are funding them with millions. I mean, how fast were they able to produce free Maduro signs after they captured them?
It's beautifully printed.
I mean, within what, two hours nationwide? Like, they didn't already have this stuff pre-printed and ready to go, because they knew there was a risk that the president was going to act on that. And all of a sudden, boom, now we've got these grassroots movements. Bullshit. It's AstroTurf across the board.
Yeah, dude. And it's the protest of the 60s, I'm sure they had some mass printed signs per protest, But for the most part, people wrote on their own cardboard, and they held the sign up or whatever, their poster.
And actually knew what they were protesting for.
Yeah.
That's another key distinction.
Well, and as the administration continues to point out and then investigate these funding mechanisms and these people that are going on, then these riots and these protests, excuse me, I should say protests right now, they're going to come to a screeching halt because these protesters aren't going to be getting paychecks.
Right.
I mean, these guys are getting paid anywhere from $30,000 to $130,000 a year, depending where they fall in the food chain. And that's enough money for them to live. And then they're just full-time agitators.
Right.
Well,
Sure. It's lost its teeth a lot too. I mean, if you think about it, as these get exposed, and we've talked about this before, we know that these are well organized, well funded, manufactured groups of people. So they aren't really protests, right?
No.
And at the end of the day, it's like, I think people are waking up and realizing, like, hey, this is it. They're trying to put forward the perception of majority. And that is the whole goal. That's the whole game. Make it look like a lot of people believe this. But we just don't live in that day and age anymore. We're seeing that tiny little snapshot on the news that you're getting through your television set is what informs your perception. We have social media. We can see what this actual size of the crowd is. We have better data to inform us and make our decisions. So it's just not working anymore.
It's not. And you guys have heard me say this, Brett and Brian, that you've got a group of people this big giving a bullhorn this big, and it's magnifying their message. And the news media says, it's 1 million people. No, it's 500. But, no one, we're not on the ground to see it. We've all seen the doctored photos. We've all seen the doctored videos where they're saying, well, nobody showed up to the Trump rally. Yeah, you were there the day before and you were taking pictures when the workers were there setting up the stage. You weren't there, filming the lines that were down the street and around the corner for 2 miles on people waiting to get in. So
they just don't care. They don't care.
No, they
don't. They don't give a shit.
Nope,
it's so blatant.
I think we're stupid. Yeah.
No, they don't even think we're stupid. They know we're smart enough. They just rely on their people staying dumb.
And gaslighting is a hell of a thing.
They're also lazy, right? They're so lazy. They want the AI way. They want the easy way. And if it doesn't work, somebody gets fired and then they just go on to the next moronic idea.
And it's not even about, look, I want to kind of segue to bring it right back around real quick. It's not even about, being some kind of idiotic cult Trump follower. It's about basic decency and common sense and being able to cipher between bullshit and truth. It's simple.
Yeah.
And they're so bent on being anti-Trump that I think who was it the other day that said it wouldn't matter. Scott Jennings. It wouldn't matter if he cured cancer. They would still find out, oh, they did it wrong. They got illegal funds or,
Well, they're trying to view everything from the lens of Orange Man bad. No matter what the story is, how can I ramrod Orange Man bad to fit this narrative somehow? That's
which
their
is
whole
going to
game
be
plan.
a real problem for them in 3 years. What are they going to do? I mean, let's say it's Vance and Rubio. Are you going to just then transfer your hatred and your TDS over to those people and blame them for things that Trump is doing? I think a lot of people will still blame Trump for years, for decades.
It's become a religion. It's become a religion for him.
Yeah, but Brian, I think to your point, people see through it at some point. Like we've got Nicki Minaj coming out saying like, I'm over this. I can see
didn't have that on my bingo card.
Finally. Yeah, exactly. But and a lot of people coming out, I think that the chaos is so overwhelming that at some point you just hit the wall and you say, you know what? It's just going to boil down to what gets us a good life, what keeps us safe, how do we keep more of the money that we're making, how do we take care of our kids, how do we pay the mortgage? And that is why we have Donald Trump back in office, is that people got out of the swirl of chaos and realized I cannot just absorb every screeching rant that I hear, aside from your guys' screeching rants, which are fabulous and brilliant. And we love them. And just boil down to what is real. And I think we're going to see economy, we're going to see national security, and just plain, how do I live my life without getting shot in the face?
Pretty
3
simple.
times, and it is pretty simple.
Yeah.
And this is, you don't interfere with federal law enforcement while they're doing their job. And
The
it's
left
such a
is
head scratcher. Like, why do we have to say this out loud? Why do we have to boil it down to this level? But the reason is that the media has gone so off the rails in
Yes.
hyping people up, and to the point where, and this really gets me, and I know I already talked about it, but this is really impacting me here because I am a mom. When you're a woman and you're a mom, most of your decisions every single day operate around that central cause of how do I keep my kids safe and how do
Mhm.
I stay safe so that I can take care of my children. And
Right.
when you're pushed past a point where you will move those priorities one above the other, the priority of having your Tiananmen Square moment and getting out there and fighting for your cause to the point of losing your life over it. We are so broken in that way in pushing forward these narratives. I'm really impacted by that today, that this woman did that. And I think there are plenty of people out there who feel the same way, who
it's
will
terrible.
forego their instinctual, right, as a
Yeah.
mama bear, as a parent, instinctual drive to survive, to protect, in service and seeking of a political ideology, should be highly concerning to everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
left. I just got to get this out. It for us conservatives, or people that are independent and leaning conservative and are behind the Trump administration's efforts and things like that. At some point you just got to tune out the noise and focus in on the signal. And then the left, on the other hand, they don't care. They don't care that even if we're doing great come midterms and gas is 72 cents a gallon, let's just say that, and bread's, $1.50 a loaf, it could be perfect. They count on their base being suicidal, and and at the end of the day, they don't care about America as much as they care about power, and that's where it all lies.
Power and
that's
optics.
so we're not going to be able to show them something. We could bring in, look at all this money, look at all the riches, look at everybody who's doing great right now. The middle class is making a comeback.
Doesn't
It's
matter.
Trump.
Well,
Yeah.
but remember, they're not going to show up in numbers large enough to win.
I hope
Not
you're
that
right.
half
And-
their voter
and-
base is getting deported right now.
Well, and they haven't been showing it up in numbers large enough to win. I'm crafting my words so as not to get deleted again.
Brett already ruined it.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. So
We're
far,
deporting their voters.
Sorry.
So far, we're okay, but they haven't been showing up in large enough numbers to win for a couple of decades. California has been cheated out of it for decades now. It's well known. And once that information starts to come out, once the feds start getting into California, which they've announced they're going to do, they're going to dig into this. And it's going to be such a, like I've always said, it's a big spaghetti bowl mess. You cook a big bunch of spaghetti and you throw it in a bowl. And if it was one continuous piece of pasta, how hard would it be to unravel it and turn it into a straight line to something you can follow? So these investigations are the same way. They've been so convoluted. They have been so intertwined, and that's been covered up and then covered up again, then buried over here and switched over there, and names change. It becomes very difficult to go out there and just grab somebody and throw them in cuffs, which is what we all want.
Right.
But you also then have to build a case that's not going to get tossed out on a technicality, right? Yeah. So we're just going to have to continue to pound on the table and say you have to show up in November and do your civic duty. And I think that we were able to overcome November. So it's been figured out up to this point. Who knows what they've done to fix the flaws in their system for counting. But we've been able to overcome that. So come November again, so long as they haven't come up with a new method that we haven't figured out, we're going to blow it away at the polls.
I hope you're right.
I thank you. I appreciate you saying that, because there's a lot of pessimism, and I understand why, but I know in my heart that I am right, because $1.50 a gallon gas goes a long way to soothe what ails this country.
Yeah. It solves a lot of people's problems.
Jealous.
It solves a lot of people's problems.
$5 plus out here.
And so, when the price of things come down, and it starts with energy costs, because energy feeds into everything. You don't get anything without electricity. You do not get anything without gas and oil. So once that starts to feed into the system, which it has, we're going to start to see prices come down and people are going to go, wait a minute, the quality of my life has gotten better. I don't necessarily agree with their politics 100%, but I do agree that I want safety and security for my family, and I want to have some choices so I can pick and choose what political party I donate to what charity I donate to what school I can send my child to. You know what I mean? And that's what America's been missing forever. The middle class has been decimated ever since the 70s. And quite frankly, it started after World War II.
Yeah.
So as the money starts to migrate back into the system, as people get larger tax returns this year, as gas prices start to fall, I mean, I drive a truck. I want gas prices. I would kill for $1.99 gas. $1.99 a gallon.
I don't know anybody that wouldn't. Yep.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think that's going to be helpful to us. And I understand, Brian, the pessimism, because I sometimes get that way myself. Then I go, wait a minute. It's not going to be that way if we don't allow it. We just have to keep the message positive. We have to remind people. And I've said this time and time again, the last of the silent majority need to get off their ass and get out and vote. These Christians that don't go out and vote because
that one's painful.
Well, it's the truth.
Yeah.
No. I mean, it's painful because it's such a significant number stay home and do not vote. And if they did, they would sweep every single election by powerful numbers.
And I'm not excusing why they're doing it, but I understand. I just want to be left alone in my Christian values to protect my family, go to work, pay my taxes. Just don't bother me because it's not in them to be confrontational. They'll never come on a show like this. Right.
But that hands-off attitude has allowed this stuff to fester.
Correct.
Has allowed people to come in and take
politics aligns with faith. And my friend
absolutely
Chad
does.
Connolly has a saying. He always says, Jesus ain't running. Jesus isn't on the ballot. Like, you're going to have a politician that's an imperfect person who some of them are in it for the grift. Some of them are being put up by, Soros money and other money like that. And some of them are real good people who understand the challenge and want to go in there and try to make things better. It does not matter that they are flawed people. Any candidate's going to be a flawed person, and they're not going to do everything right. It doesn't matter. You still get out and you do the absolute best you can, because you're not just putting somebody that you align with the most forward. You're fighting against the much worse alternative of somebody who will ruin your community, your state, and your nation, that fly directly in the face of those faith-based values.
And why do you think they don't teach civics in school anymore?
Yeah,
exactly.
And they haven't for decades.
Well, and then to your point, Aaron, about just the people being affected by the economics of the thing. And if gas prices start going down, people will be like, okay, well, the politics may not matter, but my pocketbook is now looking fatter because of it. So, and I think what people like us have to understand, we're immersed in politics all the time. So we understand the ins and outs of it. The average American they don't care, or they just don't understand, and they don't know enough about politics to be able to choose a side with an educated mind, right? So their only thing that they can associate with politics is how my finances are. That is the measuring stick for those people. And if we can, affect their pocketbook in a positive way, then you're going to have that positive change that we're looking for. That's what I think a lot of us, politically minded people get lost in that the majority of Americans don't care. They only care about, am I got food on the table? Can I put gas in my car? Can I afford a house? If you make those things work, then you're pretty much a shoo-in for any political office.
The right, speaking to just the right in general, the conservative people out there, whether you're Republican or independent, we have a problem with being passive, especially when it comes to being a constitutionalist, especially when we allow dangerous ideologies to exist within our framework and run for office and win. And then you have people in our country who are protected by the very freedoms that they want to do away with unintentionally because they're stupid. And so they want to, 1 minute Trump's a king, the next minute free Maduro. And it's like, listen,
the juxtaposition
most people get their news in between The Masked Singer, like season 30 or 50 of The Masked Singer, so they're catching little CBS hits today, the Trump administration.
Well, how many of your friends text you for political, whatever? They go, hey, what is this about? What is this about? And it's like, man, it's pretty simple stuff if you just pay attention, but most people don't.
Well, it's
no,
overwhelming. It's overwhelming
It is.
and
It
it's
is.
depressing. And so, we have to cut through that. And I know we all try really hard to do that and just to aggregate it in a way that people can stomach. Because I don't know
Right.
about you guys, but I'm 24/7 with news and with information, and that includes
Pretty
social
much.
media. And I have the thickest skin. I know you just think I'm just your little political Pollyanna over here, but I have a really, really thick skin. And I have moments where I have to talk myself down
Yeah.
because it is so
Me too.
upsetting. It is so, like we all have that. And so if we're operating at this level and it impacts us in this way, we've got to know and understand. I think that we all have sensitivity toward this, that it really impacts people. You can understand why they want to go stick their heads in the sand.
Right.
I have those moments
100%.
too,
Give me the blue
but
pill.
at the same time, we all still at the end of the day have that responsibility. Voting it's a right, it's a privilege, but I always look at it and speak about it like a responsibility, that we have
100%.
to start understanding that you can never let an election go by without
Exactly.
voting. And it's on you. I'm sorry, but like it is not so
Because if you don't vote,
difficult.
somebody else will.
Yeah,
Well,
you know what
Multiple
you got.
people will vote in your name and a dog.
I think there should be some kind of requirement to pass some kind of civic exam in order to be allowed to vote. You should have to pass an exam to have a basic understanding of what politics are, who holds office, a basic understanding of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, because you got people voting with their emotions versus their
Well, we used to
actual
have
intellect.
that, Brian.
So-
We used to have that. It was called
So then-
hold on.
You know?
Let me. And dang, I then lost my train of thought. Damn it. So like
I'm
it's
sorry.
no, it's not.
Shouldn't
It's not your
interrupt you.
fault. I blame Aaron.
No, we should pass a civics exam to vote. That's you're back on track.
No, civic exam to vote. But I don't know about you and everybody that's listening on this live right now, but I particularly enjoy my freedoms. I enjoy the fact that I can live my life, and if my neighbor is gay, they can live their life. If somebody wants to dress like a female, they can live their life, and I mind my own business and I pay my taxes. And I want to keep that. And all I'm asking is for people to get a little educated on some of the things that they're allowing and giving permission to exist within the framework that is anti-constitutional.
Yes.
And I guess that's where, coming into this new year, that's where I'm coming out guns blazing, because it's the midterms, and not just that, I'm tired of ceding ground to this the isms of the world,
Yes.
Islam,
Yes.
the
And the obias.
socialism, the Marxism, and all of that stuff that should not even be able to hold office or any kind of public office, for that fact. Any, not
Ilhan
one.
Omar.
It's insane to me. And so I'm not going to take it easy. I'm going to be pro-constitutional. It's not about being America first and Nick Fuentes. It's about being respectful and allowing people to live and let live, and also being informed, and also standing up for the Constitution, because it's the
That's the big
Constitution
thing.
that protects our religious freedoms.
The biggest thing for us right now, and to be able to combat this, is to be able to now, and I think we're seeing this trend, is to be able to put your foot down and say, no, I'm not going to bow down to this. I'm not going to be afraid to be called an ist, a racist, a homophobic, or whatever. I don't care anymore. We ceded that ground. We said, okay, we're going to try to be nice and try to understand the other side. But now we understand that the other side has been co-opted to try to overtake us. So now we need to be able to put our foot down and say, look, I'm not going to, this is my line in the sand. You either take it or leave it. If you don't like it, that's fine. I don't care. But I'm not moving from this line in the sand right here. And
100%.
there's a big push right now, I think, on the right for people to be not afraid to do that. And that is what we have to maintain. Like you said, Brian, your constitutionality, just from a specific framework of the Constitution, just let's put our foot down on this. Our founding fathers wrote that document for a reason. It is pretty black and white. It's not left up for interpretation. If you don't like it, there's 100 whatever other countries that you can go to.
Yeah.
Well, you
But
can
this
get
is
an
our
amendment
country.
if you can get everybody on your side. And that's what
Exactly.
the beauty of a freaking republic is that the majority doesn't rule the minority.
And not only that,
Individual
you're right.
rights.
Most people, we live in a constitutional republic. People don't realize that. And the best example I always tell people, if there's two wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner, who's getting eaten for dinner?
Yeah.
Well, that's why we have rules and laws in society, because even if somebody voted on it, it can be not right. And that's why things can be changed. That's a constitutional republic. The majority doesn't always win in every situation. And I wanted to bring a couple of things up to this point. There are two things that have come out that I think are important. And Brian, you had mentioned earlier, it's the people are stupid. Well, they're low information voters, just like that was Rush Limbaugh's very nice, polite way.
You have to
saying,
drink now. He said it.
Oh, all right.
Cheers.
I'm thirsty. But it is low information voters. They don't vote with fact. They vote with emotion.
It's been 0 days since Aaron said low information.
And why am I just getting
It's
clued in on the joke, right?
Because you say it every show, and it's wonderful.
But it's
But it's
very
true.
important,
We love
and
you.
it
We
is
love
so
you.
true.
Sorry, Aaron,
It's
go
true,
ahead.
and
It
it's just
applies.
being polite. And then, Brett, to your point, the measuring stick is the money. So if we can continue to give more information and get them to be not those kind of voters, there you go. Nobody has to drink, and we can make the measure on that measuring stick meaningful, which it is. Things will change quite a bit. The people vote with their wallet, which they pretty much always have in this country. But we did have more educated citizens, 40 years ago than we do today. Obviously, I mean we're dumber than shit.
Man,
It's just the
Ain't
truth.
That's true. It is.
And not to knock what we're doing, but a lot of people get their information just like this and what we're doing. Now we think we're right, of course, and that's why we're on here. And we're
We are right. What are you talking
I feel grateful to have the platform. I mean, who else gets
I'm
their own free
politically
television?
based.
Yeah. We've got this platform, but we've got, competition for the eyes and ears of the public as well. And I'm not happy that we're not funded in the same way. I'm not trying to say give me money, but gosh, could you imagine what we could do with a budget?
Right.
We could
And a team.
we would be way more effective.
Where's
We're doing
USAID
this-
when we need them?
I'd have makeup and I would look a little
Well,
bit better.
Right. I'm over here adjusting my lighting before the show, just trying to be presentable.
I'm just eating gummy bears over here.
But
You guys
but
are
that
so pretty.
But that also makes me feel very proud that we're willing to fly by the seat of our pants, and nobody's scripted this show. We all read the news all day, and then we hop on here and we talk about the things we feel are important. And I wish more people would do that. Either, I don't care if they're on the left or the right, if people would just get more passionate and not be out in the streets causing violence, and actually going, let me passionately talk to you about why I believe the way I believe. We can agree to disagree, and hell, you may even change one of my views to some degree. Probably not, but I'd be happy to listen to you.
There's the three people, right, in the room, the one that's listening to you and is there for you, the one that's on the fence, and the one that doesn't give a shit. And the one that we really, it's easy to get on there and rage bait and be like, oh, this is bullshit, and yada yada yada. Excuse my language, Kyle. And it's one of those it's one of those things where if we stop for a second and actually stop speaking at people just so they can go, yeah, that's right. And we actually start speaking with some kind of directional intent and leading the middle.
Well,
the middle
speaking to
the
understand
right
and not to win.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah,
That's
100%.
it. When you guys nailed it. You're so right on. And politics is more popular than ever now, which we love, and we want people talking about it. But that means that people have to be more cautious and more discerning than ever about where they're getting their information. These news networks, they have massive teams of researchers. I mean, it's just like a whole floor of people on their computers, and they are sourcing information, and you're hoping that they're fact checking. But you guys know, we've heard things. We've had major news networks on before, and you hear something, and you're like, ooh, maybe not exactly that. But here's why what we're doing is so important. And this show is, I think, one that people really, of course, should be paying attention to. Our reputations are on the line, right? We don't have some staffer running around sourcing information. We are researching. We're making sure that we know that everything out of our mouths is factual, or we're saying, hey, we're not sure, or this is being reported and the information's still coming out. We are giving the information as a benefit to people who are listening, not for our benefit necessarily. And so I'd like to see more of that. Of course, I absolutely think this show should be funded. I think it is excellent.
And you should be a part of it.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. I love you guys so much. But The other thing, going back to talking about our republic and our constitution, the average life of any constitution on planet Earth is 17 years, and we're about to celebrate our 250th. The
Yeah.
more that I learn about our nation's founding, about this country, and I always recommend people go to Wall Builders and get those American Beginnings books, because they're thick and they're massive. They're like textbooks, but it is the most fascinating read. And the more you learn about what everyone sacrificed, it is so dramatic, it is so powerful, it will change your life. And you would never criticize the founders. You would never criticize how this country came to be, how perfectly and spiritually and biblically and miraculously things came together for this to be the country that is still standing and the constitution that still exists. Everyone needs to go to DC and look. You can look at our Declaration of Independence and look at the actual constitution. It will really change your life. And I just think people take that for granted so much. With this Maduro capture, you've got all these Venezuelans coming out, or people who had lived under socialism or communism, saying anyone criticizing this is just out of their minds because you're so spoiled. You have never lived under a dictator or a regime that is so harmful to people. And so get out there, learn your American history, and be proud of this country, darn it. It's not
Yeah.
perfect, but it's pretty darn close.
Pretty daggum good.
And that lady on The View who started crying, she's an absolute Donald Trump hater, but she's like, well, I'm so happy about
Anna
what
Navarro.
he did. Anna Navarro,
Yeah.
thank you.
Anna Navarro,
So,
yeah.
that right there, coming from somebody on the left stating, you guys just don't understand because you've never lived it. There's the proof right there that socialism and communism doesn't work. And I don't for 1 minute believe that Zorhan Mamdani, if I think I got that right.
Doesn't matter. Does not matter.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter. Do you really think the people in New York legitimately elected that guy?
Absolutely not.
I don't know. I don't know.
I think they're that fucking stupid.
They think they're gonna get everything for free. And day one, he was asking for money. Day two, the bus fares went up. Day
he shouldn't
three,
be
they said,
allowed
everyone
legally.
who's white, we need to equalize your housing opportunities.
Oh yeah, screw that.
Oh,
lady.
his
Screw
housing
that lady.
czar, or whoever he.
Or he took millions of dollars for his inauguration. Day 5, he's putting his hand on a Quran to be inaugurated.
That right there infuriated me.
I think that he is so dangerous for this country that he's charming and he's kind of cute, and the wife's wearing fur and like $6,000 on her back while they're being inaugurated, and he's walking himself up the Canyon of Heroes. Excuse you.
The classic look of a dictator.
Yes.
Wow.
Dude,
wow.
I'm telling you, bro.
That's
listen,
problematic.
It's a litmus test. We've already talked about this. It's a litmus test for them to be able to expand this across the U.S. If this
so
works in New York, America's in trouble.
They're going to do whatever they can to make this successful, and then you're going to have.
But
there's
they
no way.
already have socialist, Democrat, or they're just socialists. I don't even think that
Yeah.
I need
Screw this
to add the
democracy
Democrat
crap
on
when it
that,
comes to
because
that.
that's that doesn't jive. There are already socialists running in other key races. There's one here from Silicon Valley in Northern California. He is what does he call himself? A centimillionaire. Which is the most obnoxious thing, to be a socialist and call yourself a centimillionaire, which means you
That's
have
an oxymoron.
over $100 million.
Just call yourself the oligarch you are.
But same thing.
Or you're
I
wanting
think
to be.
he is Indian. This Chakrabarti guy, Indian, good looking, young. It's a pattern, and we're gonna see them start popping up all over the country. And here we go. We've got a real problem on our hands, but we're still in it, you guys. We're still not quite there to say something negative against this. We're being held back. And so, Brian,
Right.
your point is really resonating with us, because did you guys see Dan Bongino's comments after he's just come back into the private sector, and he is really on fire, similar to how you are, Mr. Lane. He's saying, you know what, I don't give a rip what you guys say. We are not putting up with this anymore.
Exactly.
It's insane.
And he's
The
had to muzzle
geography-
himself and for a while. And now he's, like you said, he's a pressure cooker. He's ready to fire off. So go ahead, Brian. Sorry.
No, it's fine. This is the way it is, man. We're passionate. I love it. I just try to hang on to my thoughts, I'm like, no.
That's why I got my notepad here.
Like, don't leave
We
me.
gotta help. We gotta get you some vitamins or something, Brian.
Oh, dude, I
don't know.
take
What do
them
you
all. I
need?
meditate. I do meditation. If I didn't do the meditation, I'm telling you, bro, I would be
Focus
off the chain.
factor.
But it comes down to geography for me. we will never be conquered when it comes to
No,
that. When it comes
absolutely
to our
not.
geography, and listen, I think Trump, because we're coming to the end of the hour, unless we're going to go a little extra. I think Trump did the right thing going down into Venezuela. I like the Monroe Doctrine.
Agreed.
I like the fact that it does make sense to keep like I said in a video the other day. There's a bunch of different ideologies vying for global supremacy. And if that's the case, then I'm going to stand for the constitutional supremacy of this planet, or at least this hemisphere. And so I want, yes, give me Greenland, give me South America, give me Mexico, give me it all. And it's not to subjugate and dominate. It's to liberate. It's to give people the opportunity that the American dream that used to be relevant to the society would give them and empower them with, without all these dictators, without all these cartels, without all of this nonsense that's going on, and our passiveness with socialism. I'm not a fan of how of everything that went on back in the day, right? But they used to take these communist people and stick them on the hill. Now, some people got punished that were they were innocent and on the sidelines, but at the same time,
crack a few eggs.
It's like having cancer in your body, and you're like, well, it's just in my shoulder, so it should be okay.
Yeah,
and not even treating it. It's a tumor. Right. Socialism, communism, any of the isms, Marxism is a cancer to society and a plague on our country.
The geopolitics of the world right now is forcing our hand. We're having all of these different ideologies starting to make their push, because they realize it's kind of now or never. And I feel like we're getting to that boiling point. And Trump, I think, did the right thing with Venezuela. We're going to, plant our flag and say, hey, look, this is our line. We control the Western Hemisphere. That's us. Y'all get out of here. If y'all want to try to push, y'all do it over there, because we're doing it here.
The world has always been governed. The world has always been governed by the violent use of force, period. You don't say to the country next door that you intend to invade, on this day at this time, we're going to come across the border. You just accept it. No, they fight. and then that's what happens. It's always been the violent use of force. And there's no way around it. Now, we're into fifth dimension warfare because there have been new things added to the arsenal. So you don't necessarily have to come in. Think about if you had to try to get Maduro 40 years ago, what they would have had to have done. Now, with the technology, the drones, somebody behind a computer terminal turned off the lights, and they were doing it right here from the United States in some underground bunker somewhere, right? I mean, so it's fifth dimension warfare. But and the other comment I had on my mind, Kyle, Mamdani was a manufactured politician. This Indian gentleman you're talking about is a manufactured politician. They are born, bred, and put into these positions, coached and trained. They get them good looking, they get them articulate, and they put them there. Now, remember, that's like a boy band. Boy bands are created, and boy bands always break up. People can see through the bullshit. They do not like the polished politicians. They don't want the ones that are Delphi trained in speaking, that know exactly what to do. They know all the hot button words. They know exactly what to do, and right? Yeah, they've got this going on at all times. We are going to, and this and that. We're going to do away with the fragility of what did he say? The independent man.
Rugged individualism.
Yeah, there's going to be
Screw
no rugged
you,
individual.
dude.
Yeah, right. Screw you, dude.
Kind of built this country, and the reason that you're here.
Yeah,
and
the reason you're here.
Freedoms is.
Tell me when that collectivism ever worked.
God.
So we're not there yet.
Yeah. So just remember, the boy bands always break up, and it's going to happen because people are seeing through it. And if California can actually, if we can crack the armor that they've built around the mechanisms to keep themselves in power, I think that starts with showing how bad the money has been looted from the taxpayer. Because even though we know $70 billion or whatever the number is, and there's not 1 mile of track laid for the high-speed rail, when they get to find out where that money went and whose pockets it went into, and you look at the nepotism and the criminality and the bribes and everything,
but until there's expose it.
There's
we need to see the receipts. We need to see the paperwork, and the investigations are good. The people of California are just on their knees with tears coming down their faces, breathing this giant sigh of relief, and really hoping that these federal investigations really truly happen, because the state is on lockdown here. You want to move anything through the judicial system, up through the courts in California, it is Democrat stronghold after Democrat stronghold, and they're all protecting each other. Nothing will happen here up to the state Supreme Court. It's just completely insular and corrupt and conspiratorial. And so you have to have the federal government and investigative agencies come in and start looking around. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but everyone's most least favorite governor, Gavin Newsom, he's done this before, continues to put forward regulations and protections around the data reporting and around the financials so that no one can look in.
He's not even hiding.
Who cares? We know where it's all gone. We just need somebody to come in and actually crack it open and break it open. So we're hopeful. I don't know if you guys heard that Spencer Pratt
I was
now
just
announced
about to bring that up.
his run for LA mayor. And I'll tell you this, love him or hate him, I think most people love him now. He has been so committed, mind, heart, body, and soul in fighting against Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass and fighting for the people of the Palisades, which, by the way, not one single permit has been issued for a new home. The one permit that was issued was one that had been applied for before the fires. And they're like, look, see, one's getting built. That happened previous. Not like we just saw the fire aid money report and where all of that money got spliced up to podcasters and consultants and political campaigns. What an absolute poo show. Excuse me. Excuse my language.
Say it.
Howdy ho, boys and girls.
It's a shite show. If you say it with the E at the end, this is shite. Sounds polite.
Can't. The closest I can get is my German. Scheisse.
Scheisse, see? That's good.
Don't do that. We don't want to get a label.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I know. I'm already.
Are you waving at people, or are you waving?
So anyway, but we're happy for Spencer running and continuing to push to expose what has happened, because it is just so egregious and flagrant. And I will tell you, I could find a piece of trash, a dirty shoelace, put him in a paper bag, staple it 17 times, sit that on the LA mayor's chair, and it would do a better job than Karen Bass has done.
Thank you.
As mayor of LA.
Oh, wow.
Clip that.
100%. 100%.
Put that out there. Clip that
one.
Spencer Pratt, of all people to come to the rescue of California. I mean,
you just never know.
Exactly. I couldn't stand the guy when he was the celebrity that he was, but I mean, you have to tip your hat to him. He has he has gone full scorched earth, and he's like, I'm not stopping. Kudos to him. I really hope that he is able to uncover and dig up all of this stuff like he says he's going to. I mean, I'm fully behind him. I think he's going to be a great person, and he'll get that younger demographic that can relate to him being who he is. So I think it's a great push for us if he can get in there and do what he says he's going to do.
Yeah. He has a lot of support.
He does. Yeah.
The argument from Californians or the liberals has been that we're not going back, and it's in their mind, they're progressive values, and we're, some kind of ancient dinosaur trying to push back the clock while they support.
Back to what? Better times?
Yeah.
We're dying to go back.
Yeah. So you've got, and the real handsmaid tale here is Sharia law. They should have made that show. They need to remake that show and make it all about Sharia, because that's exactly what Handmaid's Tale was. And here's the thing. Socialism or Marxism in general is old and passé. It doesn't work. It's been proven not to work time and time again. Oh, everybody with their, this time it's going to work because we're going to do it like this.
Yeah.
It never works. It is so old school, so outdated. And the only thing that protects progressive values is the Constitution of America. It evolves with the times. Right. And so actually, when they're calling us the old dinosaurs in the room, that's like the pot calling the kettle black, because they're sitting there telling, we're the ones that gave them the ability to say what they're saying and believe what they believe and to speak it out loud. How outdated is that?
Exactly.
It's not. And freedom of speech is timeless.
Yeah.
And so it's protected them and allowed this unruly, unchecked, insane behavior to flourish. And at the end of the day, I'm still going to stand on freedom of speech. And so that it's just, that's all I got to say.
I like this. You're fired up today. I like
you are, man. You've been talking a lot. I love it. It's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I shaved the beard off and shaved got my hair cut finally because I could afford it, and because we're making these big dollars on this show.
Yeah.
And
Well,
and finally,
speaking of big dollars, we didn't have any commercial breaks this evening because we have no sponsors yet. And
So if you guys have any sponsors,
it is
Rumble.
it's
Where are you?
7:59, and I want to give everybody a shout out who watched the show this evening. We appreciate you sticking with us for an hour. Hopefully, we've brought some value to your life, and again, we appreciate the support. Every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, we're going to go live. I'm the Daily Update Guy, and you can find me on all the socials at Daily Update Guy. Brian, Kyle, Brett, take it away. Get yourself a shameless plug.
go ahead, Kyle.
All right. Thank you guys. Thanks for having me on. I just love you guys so much. And it's always a blast. You can find me on all socials at Politically Basic and also at Being Kyle Campbell.
All right. I am Real Brett Lee. You can find me on all socials at Politically Basic. Yeah, find me at Politically Basic. I'm her henchman. Find me at Project Liberty US. You can also find me at real_Brett_Lee on all the socials. And I think that's about all of them. Brian, go ahead.
And you can just find me at Brian Lane.
Brian Lane.
We've got some exciting things coming up in the next couple of months as well that we'll talk about on future shows. Do us a favor. If you have not had a chance to follow us, every follow counts. It lets the algorithm know that you like us. So please help us grow. It doesn't cost you a dime. It's going to cost you about 2 seconds of your time. And then, like I said, in a couple of months, we'll have some great announcements coming out, and we're going to take this thing to the next level.
Ooh.
Yes.
I'm excited. I'm excited. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and take the feeds down, and we're going to go from there. Everybody have a good night.
Good night.
All right.
Ready. Cool. I'm down.
Pardon me.
Hold on a second. Let me double check. Sorry, I had to move this over in stream.
Had too much wine, fellas.